we can expect some similar thinking from both trainers, because as these trainers have developed their teams, similar thought process, similar play styles as well, because it tells us a lot what Pokemon a trainer picks. And it looks like we have Iomero's team on the screen.
Yeah, just to go through it once again, because this is the team that made it the furthest for both trainers. It is the Medicham. It is the Walrein, the Sableye, Trevenant, Azumarill, and Registeel.
Now, I have an interesting question for you. There is no Charmer here. There is no pure Dark type. Are we going to see some Sableye mirror matches here in the finals?
We are poised to see some Sableye versus Sableye. How can each trainer protect it? How much do they invest in it? Do they lead it? Do they try to get an energy advantage? There is only one viable option, and that is the Azumarill. But as we've seen throughout the tournament, sometimes Azumarill can get pressured by that Sableye. It can get taken out by that Return and Shadow Claw.
Do not adjust your television screens. That is the same team here for kiengiv. Azumarill, Registeel, Medicham, Sableye, non-Shadow Walrein, and the Trevenant as well. So I could see some even potential double ghost strategies coming from these trainers. I mean, Trevenant and Sableye, if you're not going to stop them, they are just such a serious threat.
We see a growing popular team in Go Battle League is Registeel double ghost, and we've seen kiengiv bring it earlier in the tournament as well. Maybe he deploys it here today. And quick note, it actually is the Shadow Walrein on kiengiv's side and the normal Walrein on Iomero.
Oh, understood. Thank you so much for that point. I think it's interesting as well. kiengiv wearing a similar jersey to that 2019 appearance at the Pokemon Go Championships, trying again to conjure some magic, and he finds himself yet again in the grand finals.
Trying to capture the electricity of that moment and bring it out and unleash it here in these grand finals. I cannot wait for this matchup. Almost pretty much mirror teams here. So it's going to come down to skill. It's going to come down to team reading. It's going to come down to team composition. How will the trainers play with what is a mirror in a sense?
You have to think that there's less pressure here on Iomero's shoulders, needing to just win 3 games in a series to take out King and become the champion. There's less pressure on his shoulders. However, if you take a challenger like King too lightly, you will be in for a bad time, because kiengiv does not let up. He has been on fire in this losers bracket, and he is still on fire right now.
And like you mentioned, King will need to win 6 games to be the grand champion here. But if he ever does win this series, the momentum swaps, right? Now the pressure is shift. King has already beat you, so we are going to get into these matches pretty soon. Yeah, these teams are very similar. Like we mentioned before, seems like Sableye is probably poised to have the most play out of all of these 6 Pokemon on either team, but you don't know. Both trainers are aware of that, so maybe they sit it.
I gotta tell you, Butters, I'm so excited. We have one trainer already locked in, and the screen flashed white. We are headed to the grand finals. Let's hear it in the chat, in the stream, and in the stadium.
Let's go, the grand finals, and it's Shadow Walrein into Trevenant. That is a great lead for kiengiv because of these super effective Powder Snows.
Again, Walrein and Trevenant, so powerful, and they match up yet again. We do see both trainers triggering their attacks at the same moment. That is a CMP event, and Walrein will go first.
Wow, giving up an early protection shield in maybe what is a negative matchup, trying to get the 2 Seed Bombs before the Walrein is able to get the 2 Icicle Spears. I think Iomero could do it.
Now the question is, how critical is this lead situation? Do you want to play for switch advantage? We see the swap coming in here with the Walrein versus the Shadow Walrein.
And Walrein is just trying to soak this energy, but it's not going to want to soak an Earthquake. That's hard to do because a Shadow Earthquake is going to do a dent.
Absolutely. Shadow Walrein deploying that Earthquake, and look at that Walrus on the other side just absorbing all that damage. You're going to see the Walrein from Iomero return fire though.
But looking at it more, I kind of like that play from Iomero because you put the Walrein into Earthquake range, so that does make King devote a Protect Shield.
No shields on the board for kiengiv. All these charge moves will come through immediately. We do see another Earthquake here getting dialed up from that Shadow Walrein.
And I cannot believe this. Calling the Earthquake at almost no health, giving up the Protect Shield to save all of that energy for Iomero.
And it looks like an Icicle Spear here from the Shadow Walrein. Will this be enough to win the mirror match? It's going to be deadly close.
This is a swing event of this match. Can it knock out the Walrein? It cannot. So the Earthquake will be going through against the defenseless Shadow Walrein from kiengiv.
The Earthquake cracks the ground, and Shadow Walrein falls into the crevice, and we do see that double ghost team that you just talked about, a popular lineup in Go Battle League.
Even though King lost the Walrein matchup, it is going to probably win the war of the backline, but this Trevenant does have energy. Tried to swap on it, swap again. Now it's Medicham versus Sableye.
kiengiv manipulating the battlefield, switches out, forces the switch out in return, and Sableye is just loving this matchup right now.
Yes, this is a dominant matchup for Sableye. There were two ghosts in the back for kiengiv, so there is no place for this Medicham to go. But how will kiengiv play this? Go for the foul play or just go for the return? I love this play. You want to knock this Medicham out.
I hope Sableye kept the receipt because he's about to return Medicham right back into that Pokeball. Boom! Medicham faints.
And look, the Trevenant is going to have to commit energy, going to have to throw the Seed Bomb here to knock out the Sableye. But we do have that Trevenant in the back for kiengiv, and Iomero's Trevenant is dangerously close to fainting the Shadow Claw. One Shadow Claw, and it's a Seed Bomb versus Seed Bomb.
Oh my goodness, it's a CMP event. Now this is critical. We do see Iomero firing off the Seed Bomb first. It will not do too much damage, but this is valuable information in the best of 5, knowing which Pokemon wins CMP. Here comes King.
Yeah, King decides to press those bubbles just for emphasis and take out the opposing Trevenant in that backline mirror matchup, which we might see a lot of today because they are pretty much the same teams.
These two trainers started on even footing, and kiengiv took the first step forward with a Game 1 victory.
And as you look at those back lines, the key there was that kiengiv brought the double ghost, and the Medicham was in the back for Iomero there. So that was not fortunate. Medicham does not like to see those ghost types.
Some of these Pokemon just stand out. I think that Medicham was a response to Pokemon like Registeel, Pokemon like Walrein. Those Pokemon take super effective counter damage from the Medicham, and Medicham just could not find a good target in that matchup.
Yes, and interesting that Iomero didn't bring the Sableye. kiengiv did, but there was no Sableye from Iomero. And there is one slight difference, as we mentioned in these teams, the Shadow Walrein versus the regular Walrein. And I believe the Shadow Walrein has a better matchup against Sableye. So that is a slight advantage for kiengiv, team composition-wise.
Absolutely. I hate to break the news to you, but one trainer is already locked in. There's a lot of confidence on the board, and our battle is starting off. What do we have in the field here, Butters?
Once again, we are looking in a mirror, and these two Registeels are just going to be locking on away. But look, a change this time. Iomero with the double ghost backline.
These Registeels deciding to go for the Focus Blast. It's easy to track your opponent's energy when you're using the same Pokemon, and King no shields the Focus Blast here.
Yes, no shield and taking a lot of damage and swapping, trying to catch the Focus Blast onto the Sableye, but the composure to keep the energy and actually debuff this Sableye.
Even while swiping the charge move minigame, kiengiv, thinking about what could be in the back, what he should bring in here, chooses to bring in the Shadow Walrein.
And like I mentioned, the Shadow Walrein maybe has more optionality against the Sableye because you're doing more fast move damage with the Powder Snow. I think you can go for a Powder Snow down here.
Let's see, Walrein dealing a lot of damage with the fast moves, reaching for the farm down, and he gets it.
Wow, precise gameplay, knowing that you can land that Zap Cannon and go for the farm down with Walrein. kiengiv on top of his game and now is loaded with energy, which is sure to be impactful.
Walrein's coverage is just so exemplary, and he chooses the right charge attack here. This will be an Icicle Spear, and we do see that first Protect Shield. Trevenant feels cornered at this moment.
Yeah, and you do not see the switch timer back up, so you cannot actually swap on this Icicle Spear. So this Trevenant just has to sit here and take them, but does not want to, so uses those Protect Shields.
Trevenant not ready to wither yet under these Ice-type attacks, deploys both shields. Oh my goodness, Shadow Walrein!
Wow, what a momentum swing. Iomero tries the Shadow Claw down. kiengiv denies it and knocks out the Trevenant.
My goodness, making that switch out into Sableye, now into the Registeel. But what a commanding position. 2 Protect Shields, 3 Pokemon, and Sableye fires the foul play.
kiengiv looking dominant so far. Going to be able to throw this foul play into the Registeel. Iomero is in a tough position. It's never over until it's over. But like you said, there's this Registeel looking a little hopeless.
Registeel looks great on screen with that shiny green tint, but it is not going to do too much on the battlefield. kiengiv IV, no shielding the Zap Cannon there, will opt for another foul play, deal some neutral damage, and a few Shadow Claws more will probably wrap this up.
Yeah, and Registeel still going at it. It's never shows defeat, and the Shadow Claws should be enough to just knock it out here and take a convincing game number 2 win for King IV in these grand finals.
Again, this is a best of 5. King IV making more calculations. He's won 2 games in a row. If he wins one more match, being the next match, he will effectively reset the bracket and make it a true best of 5. King IV still has a long road ahead, but he is 2 steps ahead of his opponent so far.
Right, and this series is not over. Iomero could still come back, and if he wins the next 3 games, could win the grand finals. But wow, the momentum is on King IV's side here, just doing so well in these first 2 games, is 1 game away from moving on to the next series, and if he wins the next series, he will be the grand finals champion.
Absolutely, both of these trainers have a legitimate shot to win it all here in Indianapolis this weekend at the very first North American Regional Championship. This is history in the making, and both of these trainers are very deserving of the title. And
I'm glad you guys are all here to watch it. We are hyped to be here. We are hyped to be in this game number 3, and it is gonna be the Medicham into Sableye.
Oh my goodness, King IV making all the right calculations. What a lead situation, making the switch out into Wallrain, counter swap into Registeel.
And you hear the roar of the crowds, because just another great call from King IV, and now you're gonna be able to match up this Registeel versus Wallrain, but Wallrain does have ways to fight back.
We do see an early Protect Shield here from the Registeel. That's a bit interesting to me, knowing that the Registeel could withstand 1 Earthquake from Wallrain, but it is a CMP event, and we see the Zap Cannon immediately.
Yeah, and the shield makes sense just because you want to stop that damage. Oh my goodness, almost knocked out the wall. Iomero just lets it go.
Down a Protect Shield, but still in a commanding position. King IV meets the Medicham on the field and reaching for another Zap Cannon.
And a healthy Registeel is not a terrible matchup against the Medicham, because although it's doing super effective damage with its fast move, the Psychic and Ice Punch is just going nowhere.
Absolutely, we do see that Zap Cannon land, no shield. The Medicham gets slowed down by that attack drop as well.
Yes, and now it has to decide where it wants to use its energy. Finally throws a Psychic, but this is not going to be enough by this Stat Project Registeel. It's going to resist this. It's going to take it right on the chin, right on all its lights.
There are no top lefts in regional championships, and we see this Medicham is going to fight it out. But here comes another Zap Cannon, wanting to maintain that Medicham on the field a bit longer. We do see Iomero throw up a Protect Shield.
Yeah, and King IV able to keep alignment and get the shields neutral now and do all this damage to Medicham and 4-stage debuff it. And here we go, swap, and now it's this Shadow Wallrain versus a Registeel.
This just became a bit more interesting. Registeel reaching for a super effective Focus Blast, and we see the immediate shield by King IV.
And interesting it has been, because look, the Registeel is a little bit ahead of energy and going for the energy efficient move, going for that Focus Blast here, and now this is a big decision, and it's happening. The big decision, it's the bait, Speedy.
This is a coin flip decision. What does Iomero decide to do? Does he call it? No! Shielding Icicle Spear. Oh my goodness, Wallrain reaching for the Quake.
And that bait might have just given King IV a ticket to the next series in the grand final. Shake the ground, Wallrain, and take out that Registeel. Not quite a couple, oh my goodness. Barely holds on to get this Focus Blast, and this is surely gonna knock out the Wallrain.
Shadow Wallrain again gonna take increased damage from all attacks, and Wallrain faints off the field. Here comes the Sableye, but my goodness, the Sableye is so healthy.
Yeah, we still have this backline matchup, even though Medicham has energy. That energy's not going anywhere, and you know what energy is going somewhere? King IV's foul play, and that energy is going to the next series of the grand finals.
No Trevenant, no brooms needed here. King IV with the 3-0 sweep of his opponent Iomero.